part. We can't avoid the finality that someday we will all be dead. And so we look at that and the need to think about that preparation for death or death itself, and how do we fit that into pro-life month. This whole month we looked at abortion, that we as Christians have a tremendous respect for all human life, from earliest conception to natural death, to the grave. We have a respect for all life because every human being is made in the image and likeness of God. Every human being has a natural dignity simply because God created them. A natural dignity that they share in God's own glory and are intended to live forever and ever and ever. And that ought to make us really feel awesome every time we do look at another human being. Here's someone who's going to live forever. They're not God, because we had a beginning, but we have no end. And so we look at this respect for every person in this gospel would lead us to, first of all, realize that we cannot be judges. That's one of the first things the Pope said when he was flying from Argentina to Rome. He was asking about the homosexual issue. And he said, who am I to judge? Well, that left the door wide open for a lot of people wondering. But in other words, who am I to judge? You and I, like it or not, we're called to be judges of something. Do I get out of bed in the morning or not? That's you're making a judgment. What do I feed the children or not feed them? What time do I put? We make all kinds of decisions that are judgment decisions. And so we also have to make judgments sometimes about other people. It's like PR work. No, I don't think you're meant for this job, but we might have something else for you. It's making a judgment about a person's ability or sometimes even their character. But we cannot make a judgment about someone's worthiness to enter the kingdom of God. Jesus used the example of the tax collector. Now, there is nothing immoral about being a tax collector per se, even though they were looked down upon by all the Jews, because they were seen as traitors, because they were working for the Roman government. But taxes are a part of life. They say two things you can't avoid: taxes and death. So, tax collectors are a necessary evil, you might say. So he's not doing anything evil, but still he's looked down upon by others as if he is less worthy. So we think of that. How you and I may not judge anyone in terms of their ability to enter the kingdom. We have to look at who we are. But we also want to look at how do we take care of ourselves and how do we take care of others till that time of death. One of the things we had to do this week is really a wonderful institute, because we not only looked at liturgy to find out I'm doing some things wrong, we looked at how parish councils ought to be and find out they're going to change. We looked at the reality that all of us, every priest, is to have a will drawn up and given to the bishop. So, when we die, there's no hassle. They know what to do and what to be expected. And so they reminded that all the young guys haven't turned that in yet. When you're young, you don't think you're ever going to need it. But we also were called to look at having a power of attorney, durable power of attorney for answering health issues that we're not going to be able to answer ourselves. There's a possibility we could have a stroke and not be able to answer what do we want done. And so that needs to be in someone else's hand, if you will. So we look at these things and we say, well, what is to be done? What is to be done? Today we're looking at reality. Not only are we killing babies in mass, but we are moving very, very rapidly to killing more and more older people. Right shortly, in January, the 8th state will have legalized euthanasia. 8 states already. There's already been a couple thousand killed in Canada because of euthanasia. And in Belgium, the next natural state was to say, oh, this child can't answer for himself, neither can his parents. This child is not worthy of life. This child is a burden to society. Therefore, you may starve it to death or kill it. Euthanasia. Absolutely, always wrong, evil. But then we look at some things that might happen, like euthanasia, or like dementia, or we get Alzheimer's. Look at mom going through that for a long time, and say you reach some things, you say, what do you do? Or like dad going through tremendous pain most of his life in his last days. They're saying, well, what about morphine? How much morphine can you give? Because we do look at the difference between euthanasia and hospice, euthanasia and palliative care. But even there, you do need to find out references, because you need to find out what is the philosophy of who's running the hospice. They're not all identical. But palliative care means that I want this person to be fully who they're able to be every moment of their life until death. But we do want to contain pain, and we can certainly do that. We have a right to contain pain. And so the bishops, Missouri U.S. Council of Catholic Bishops, along with the American Medical Association, says that it's quite legitimate to use the necessary morphine necessary to control the pain. Now, what they're looking at, and that's why we sometimes have problems, that well, if you give that much morphine, that would kill somebody. It would kill a normal person, yes. But they're saying that morphine is eaten up by the pain itself, the pain receptors. That's what they tell us when Dad was going through it. They, if we're not giving him too much, if he's still feeling pain, because the pain receptors are eating up morphine. You don't have to worry about overdosing unless you give way more than necessary at that moment. So it's something that has to be monitored very closely, but realize that you're legitimate to use as much as necessary to contain pain and hopefully maintain the person's ability to respond to you. You don't really want that. You want to be able to keep them able to enter into some conscious presence with those who are there. But sometimes, it will reach a point where morphine will be necessary, and it will bring a point to where they're not able to respond. But in containing the pain, what the bishops are saying is, you're not ending someone's life. You can't do that. But death may certainly come. It may come, and it will come eventually. We cannot hasten death, though. And the reality is, they're saying, if we do not contain the pain, then pain itself may hasten the death. So it's in a way, no-win situation. But we certainly may always seek to control the pain that is there, and to help someone continue their life to their last natural breath and before they come before the presence of God. Today we think about our love of every human being, our concern for every human being, that we must have a great regard and see everyone as a child of God, everyone as entitled to have all the care that we can give them to have a dignified life. Today, let's pray that in all that we do, whether it's our own demise coming up, or whether it's the care of our loved ones, that we do follow the guidance of the church, and that we not buy into what society wants to offer in terms of saying, well, there's no difference. There's no difference between ending someone's life, a little early, or maintaining their life and letting them die. It's like, same result, right? Well, yeah, same result, but there's a big difference. There's a big difference when you put a gun to someone's head, or, whether you say, hey, here's some breakfast, here's milk, here's something to take care of today, to take care of on a natural level. Today, pray that you have that wisdom, seek guidance of others. It's a necessary time that we have help from brothers and sisters in this journey of life. Today, again, as we end up Pro-Life Month, let us renew our own commitment to the care for, the concern for every human being from conception to natural death.